Good morning. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. It is the 5th of December. That means it's only 19 days to Christmas. For those of you who believe in Christmas and want to celebrate Christmas. So the countdown is on. So probably you're doing shopping, you're making phone calls and coming up with that itinerary for the festivities. But I'm not alone today. And I'm saying but, because then I don't believe in Christmas. I'm with Amwai brand. Amwai brand, how are you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Fantastic.
You don't believe in Christmas? How do you know?
No, I don't believe in Christmas.
Ever since you're young?
Yep. Yep.
You never used to celebrate Christmas?
No. That's what we were brought up as a family. We only celebrate New Year.
Whoa.
Yeah? Like a reason to cross together. Yeah? So today is Monday.
Yeah.
Meaning that today is your Friday.
Yeah, today is my Friday.
Whoa. Whoa. Anyway,
Friday though.
for my Brian, it's a weekend for him tomorrow.
Yeah.
That is on Tuesday and Wednesday. So today is his last round, and we'll be seeing him on Wednesday. And we'll be talking issues. Actually, no, Wednesday, Thursday, isn't it?
Thursday.
Thursday, yes.
Yeah.
Because on Tuesday and Wednesday, you'll be out.
Yeah.
Anyway, you gotta get used to this particular program. A lot
Maybe
is
we're going
happening.
to change it in future.
Yeah?
I don't know. Come New Year, we're going to relook at it and say, okay, maybe it needs to work in a different way. But
Yeah. Guess what? Maybe we shall be reviewing it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But what we do know, there's a lot happening in the country as far as we are concerned. Mwangaza is not going to be impeached, looks as if, because the courts did stop MCS from debating that particular issue. We'll be getting into that, and we'll be telling you what exactly was the issue around it. And there have been conversations around the legality of the current Hustler Fund. What is it? Where did this money come from? Is it constitutional for us to run a fund like that? And a lot of questions around it. I'm gonna ask you though, have you received your Hustlers Fund?
I told you, I'm still waiting for the message.
It's not
And
come yet.
I'm not the only one, because we were doing a story yesterday, and there's a woman that was asked whether she actually got to receive, the message and the funds, but she was told to wait for 2 hours, but she's still waiting up to date.
Oh yeah.
So there's been a challenge for quite a number of people, not just me, but there are others who've been successful when it comes to accessing the funds.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of messages.
And you know, the more we continue asking this, people might actually wonder, what do I want to do with the funds? Do I want to start a business or something?
It's just, but by the way, majority of the people who've registered, it's not like they really want to get the fund, because there have been conversations around that. They just want to see what their limit is, because there have been questions around
whether it actually works, whether they can actually access the funds. That's the main reason, I guess.
Yeah, and because I heard that the president got what, 2,200? Yeah. The owner of the fund.
But we say the more we borrow and pay, the more the limit is going to actually increase.
Yeah.
So the idea, because people have been criticizing the funds and saying, okay, so what exactly am I supposed to do with this money? Because I can't budget on it. Looking at how things are right now, I can't start a business with 1,000 bob. What exactly do you expect me to do with that? But the government has been on record saying, okay, those who say you cannot do anything with 1,000 bob then have not been on the ground to know exactly, how the Kenyan people do feel, because, this 1,000 bob can take somebody a step higher and remove them from whatever they were or the condition they were initially. So, depends with how you look at it.
Yes, but another area that we need to question this morning, by the way, is Amwai, because who run this? Is there a ministry for this fund? Because it's the criteria of operating this fund. It's like a company somewhere that has been formed. So who owns this company? Is it the government?
I did ask you that last week. I did ask you that last week and told you. So this looks like a company to some extent, because it is operating the same way that online lenders have actually been operating. Yeah. And I asked you whether it's going to take them out of the market or something like that, or be a negative, kind of negative, affect them in a negative way in this, But how is it operating? Because it looks like a business.
I will tell you, another thing I'll tell you, that the commissioners, the officials behind the Hustler Fund, how do they get their jobs? Because then if it's a public office, you're supposed to go in competitively. You and I should have applied for those jobs to see whether we can get it.
It's a party's office, maybe, not a public office.
Anyway, Raila Amolo Odinga plans for mass action. Which day is that?
That is this coming
Wednesday.
Thursday.
Yeah, when you'll be doing your Sunday.
Seventh will be on
Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yeah. On Wednesday.
You'll be at home.
Yeah.
Or over the weekend.
Yeah, totally.
Are you going to be joining?
Maybe to collect a story. I'll just take a seat. I'll just sit at home and probably watch on TV.
Oh yeah. There's a lot that's happening around this particular issue. Anyway, let's talk about World Cup a little bit. Amwai, we are down to only one African nation, Cameroon, that is going to face what? Cameroon is supposed to face Spain. Yeah. Your feelings about African teams dropping out?
Do I really have any?
Yeah.
I know.
Patriotism, Bana. Don't be like...
I told you when I was getting into this World Cup, I had only one team in mind, and that was France.
All France?
And I'm not supporting anything else apart from France. So, yeah, I'm very loyal when it comes to the kind of people I'm supporting. I'm supporting France. So, and something funny. You see, when France won in 2018, there's this newspaper pull out that I think it was the Daily Nation then, that actually did a whole 2-page and the celebrations, the photos, and I did pull that out and actually, put it among my stuff. And recently, just last week, when I was going through my things when I was young, and I come across that pull out, and I'm like, damn, I still have this one here. What exactly is happening? But anyway, I took a photo of it. I'm hoping to remind people that this happened in 2018, and it could actually happen in 2022. So yeah, I'm still rooting for France.
I'll tell you that, man. Anyway, we're just waiting to see exactly what happens. If not so, then Africa will drop out even before we get to the quarterfinals. I will tell you that quite a sad state of affairs. But guess what? We can't do much. We wish the very best to the teams that are actually in it. And bad news for Arsenal. Looks like Gabriel Jesus, depending on the reports that you're reading, is out now for 3 months. Quite a sad state of affairs. That's what we want
bad
England
news for
out.
Arsenal or bad news for you guys?
It's really bad news.
You should put yourself in that category, not just Arsenal. Because the moment you say bad news for Arsenal, it's like you're distancing yourself from that. Bad news for us, Arsenal fans.
But you Arsenal got top of the league. We don't want to come out of that. Now we're missing Gabriel Jesus, who's our main players. Anyway, let England crash out so that we have Saka out of that World Cup, the way we have Partey back. Anyway, those are some of the issues that we're going to focus on this morning on Look Up's Morning Drift. Now remember, you can be parcel of this at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiage Simba. That man right there, Brian Amwai, is at Amwai Brian.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Okay.
Once we come back, we'll be taking you right to your dailies so that we can see exactly what it is that you're talking about this morning, or what is taking center stage on this 5th of December 2022. Once we come back. Welcome back. You are watching The Morning Drift. My name is Simba Kiage. Join us online at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. Across the board now, it is about what is going on in the political scene in the country. And I do have the standard, which I'll be getting into shortly. Let's begin with the Daily Nation that Amwai Brown has right there. Amwai Brown,
Simba, we have quite a number of things that the Daily Nation has actually put on its front page. Okay. And I think let's start with the top story, and then get to a little bit of what is happening in the political world. Now, deadly voyage. Now, for hundreds of young women leaving Kenya for the Middle East in search of domestic work every month, chances that they would give up the promise of a better life are slim, despite tales of horror and death at the hands of the cruel employers. Now, with the promise by Labour CS Florence Bore to prioritize Saudi Arabia in safety interventions, bring the madness to an end. Now, this is a story about, you see, we've been covering these stories most of the time. What happens when people go out to the Gulf and when they return, you know, their health is actually very wanting. And also some of the conditions that they're actually subjected to when they are in that particular region is actually something that nobody is proud of, to say the least. And some of them actually come back dead at home. But even if people are coming back dead, some are still looking for opportunities in that particular region. They believe now, maybe if I go there, I'm going to have a different fate. I don't necessarily need to have the same fate that somebody else did have here. And yes, there's some of them who are there say that maybe they got good employers, they knew how to survive and all that. And, you know, others still trying to talk to those who are still eyeing to go there, not to go there. Now, this is a story that has been covered on page 2 and 3 of the Daily Nation, whereby just covering the stories of the people who have gone to Saudi Arabia in search of employment and what they went through. And I believe it's a little bit of a feature in regards to that particular, just saying that, you know, you go there, conditions are not good, but with the new CS in office, he's seeking to probably, you know, look at that and give priority to the safety of the people who go to work in the Gulf. Now, another story that has been given headline here on the Daily Nation is about what is about to happen this coming week, and this is Raila, my war with Ruto. Now, Raila says the high cost of living, lack of ethnic balance in appointments to state jobs, and plan to import genetically modified maize are among the reasons for Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga's displeasure with the President William Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza administration. Now, just this story on page 4 of the Daily Nation. This coming week, this Wednesday, Raila Odinga plans mass demonstrations and also just to let people meet people at the Kamkunji grounds here in Nairobi, where he says we'll be having consultations on exactly which direction the nation is supposed to be taking. And away from that, he also says, okay, apart from 7th of December, we'll also come back on 12th of December at the same grounds here in Nairobi, Kamkunji grounds, to now, you know, still deliberate. We'll continue having consultations. And somebody was arguing, by the way, if you say you're coming back on 12th is Jamhuri Day, that's a national celebration. So when you're going to have a parallel event in the city of Nairobi, what exactly does that mean for the government? So politically speaking, it's a little bit strategic, but the right to picket and hold rallies and all that is actually anchored in the Constitution. So he is allowed to actually do that. And just like you asked earlier, whether maybe somebody says on 7th is actually trying to test the waters and see exactly how people are going to respond. And
yes, we've seen a couple of parties allied to his ODM movement actually pull out.
Yeah, we saw Jubilee did pull out, Kanu did pull out. They say, okay, we are going to work with the government, but when it comes to a point where we need to criticize the government, we are going to do it in a sober way, and we are not going to be part of the protests that are actually being, fronted here. And this is the thing, when you look at it, to some extent, it starts to look like an ODM affair, because now the parties that want to be associated with the Right Honourable Raila Odinga are not that many. It's just his party, ODM, and probably Wiper because of Kalonzo Musyoka, and NARC Kenya because of Martha Karua. But what stands out largely could be ODM, and he's the one that is leading this, because other coalitions, we talk about the Jubilee Party, that is that of President Uhuru Kenyatta. It's not going to be part and parcel of what will be happening on Tuesday. But in response to that, the president did say, bring it on. Now, they say protests won't derail our agenda. And I was listening to him speak the other day, and he was saying, okay, we are going to speak to the Minister of Interior and the Interior Matter Security, that is Kithure Kindiki, to provide security for the people that want to demonstrate. And he said, okay, you just need to give us your plan. How long do you want to do it? Do you want to do it for months, a week, years, so that we can actually have a plan and provide security for you, but you're not going to derail us from exactly doing what we need to do? Because according to President William Ruto, he says, the opposition has noted that probably the government is working, has launched the Hustler Fund, the housing agenda, and all those things that have actually been put in motion. And now they want to try and make it look like they're not working. But they say, we are not going to listen to you. And we are going to continue doing what we need to do for the people of Kenya. Now, something else here, Gachagua power plan, quest for Mount Kenya leadership linked to laying foundation for presidential bid. Now, this is something else that I've actually been covering during the weekend, whereby we're looking at Gachagua to some extent trying to unite the Mount Kenya region and saying that it's going to unite, rather rally behind President William Ruto. And also just stretching an olive branch to the leaders, or rather leaders from Mount Kenya region who are in the Azimio side or the Jubilee side, he was saying that these are our friends. Yeah. They've been our friends, so we welcome them on the table to have a conversation about this country and how to work together. We need to rally behind this president because he has good intentions for the people of the mountain. He was welcoming the Mount Kenya Foundation and all that, because to some extent it looked like the Mount Kenya region was a little bit defiant when it came to the IALA nominations, where they went ahead and voted for someone different other than the person that that been instructed to. And I remember those the governor for Nyeri, Mutahi Kahiga, who says, okay, we as Mount Kenya people, we are also looking at our own interests and things like that. But now he's trying to unite it, and they say here on the Daily Nation, probably this is a plan to, be the kingpin when it comes to the Mount Kenya region. And I think those are just some of the headlines being given priority here on the Daily Nation.
Pretty much. Let me see exactly what we have on the Standard. Same story about the planned mass action by Raila Amolo Odinga on Wednesday. But they give you spots here on exactly what Ruto has said about it. What we do know is that Ruto has already directed Interior CS Kithure Kindiki to provide security to the planned protesters, but also informed him that he needs to deal heavily with lawbreakers. It's essentially the same thing from there, where the president has accused Raila Odinga of planning to use demos to stop government from delivering on its pledges. But then he has also vowed to press ahead with public engagement rallies on Wednesday and Jamhuri Day. Same story there in that particular one. On pages 12 and 13, there's a very interesting story there that you need to read into about what Ababu Namwamba is talking about in terms of him trying to clean the rotten spots. The kicker there is poor leadership, mismanagement, embezzlement of funds within federations, and the lack of sports infrastructure among the ills that the new minister must confront. Good. Essentially that. I don't see any other bigger story here that you actually need to get into. You want to learn more about the just concluded Kalasha Awards. Read into that story on pages 3. On the back page of the Standard, you're going to see exactly how Senegal crashed out of the World Cup with with the England fans then celebrating the advancement into the quarterfinals. Now, what we do know is that they're going to face France. That's going to be a titanic clash, again, with the France also picked among the best performers so far in the World Cup. England as well, in terms of the number of goals scored, they're the leading as well. So it's going to be a very interesting match then for England, with majority of fans saying England haven't really met strong teams to the lead up to the quarterfinals. The first strong opponent is going to be France, and it'll be interesting to see exactly how they are going to play in that particular one. Amwai, just that is essentially what the Standard has given center stage this Monday. As it. So we take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, then we shall be taking you online to see exactly what it is that you're talking about, in as much as your trends are concerned. As it. It's very cold in Nairobi. This weather, are we accustomed to what is the meteorological department saying? By the way, maybe you could start like that. Kenya's meteorological department. What do they call Met department? Meteorological. I'm looking for it, by the way, so we could start from there, because this weather. No, nothing much. But
what is wrong with the weather? I think it's okay.
I'll be looking for it, so that we can talk about this weather, because this year, this is because I think as for March, April, May, and June, we were in this weather, isn't it? Now we are back at it again in November. Whoa. Anyway, let's open our twist center this morning so we can see exactly what it is that Kenyans are talking about. Get to talk about it briefly then, just before we continue with the morning drift right here. All right, let's jump into it. Do we have the tweet ready so we could read it together with our audience this morning? By the way, remember, you can also be part and parcel of this. Look up TV across all your social media platforms. Now, Amwai, look here. This is one by Raila Amolo Odinga, and he's saying, we know what they did, how they did it, or help them do it. We shall reveal all that shortly. Our meeting this coming Wednesday will proceed as planned. Tukutane Kamukunji, Asanteni Utawala. This guy was in Utawala this weekend.
Yeah, he was in Utawala. He was campaigning for MCA because, there's a time that elections didn't happen in a ward in Utawala because I think of some technicalities or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So he was campaigning for that particular MCA. In that particular, that is an Azimio MCA, so he was there for a campaign. And that is, to some extent, one of the regions that do support Raila Odinga fully because the way they voted for him in the past elections was actually overwhelmingly. And you understand that that's actually an area where Babu Owino comes from too. He's actually a member of parliament, that particular constituency.
It's interesting.
Embakasi East. Yeah,
it's interesting. This is a response to that particular tweet by Stephen Mutoro, who's saying, "I'll forever respect you, Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Although I hardly agree with you on anything since you pronounced these words. You will follow in the Uhuru footsteps. If you knew what they did, why didn't you stop them? What value would you attain by revealing to who?" Then he continues, "Who will even believe you, Honorable Raila? You're losing your constituency, your own allies in Azimio, and even ODM feeling the timing is not right. Although your intention to keep the government in check is apt, an assignment you were helped into political coma."
Listen, this is the thing, Simba. Where do you draw the line between keeping the government in check and being right? Because you can't do both. If you're going to keep the government in check, then it's not going to settle well with some people. Some people will feel like the way you want to do it, there's no right way of doing it. I don't think there's a right way of doing it. There is, because if you're going to call for the opposition to be, very active, and the only way an opposition can be active is if it at all it's rallies the people behind it. Because if you want an opposition to be active and you're not willing to have the opposition on the table to discuss, then you can't have that. So what is the best way of keeping the government in check? Coming on the table and say, let's have a conversation about the country and how to do better in things like that. When you have a government that says, we are not going to allow that because we don't want a handshake and things like that, we're not going to sit down with you to talk about anything because we believe, like, if you at all you're going to come on the table to have a conversation about anything, then you're going to, lead to the handshake. That's something we are trying to avoid. So if the people that you want to keep in check are not willing to have a sober conversation, then what is the best way of you keeping the government in check? I find it very twisted here when on one side you are calling for the opposition to actually keep the government in check, but we are very opposed to how they want to keep the government in check. I
saw the same thing that was said by Junet Mohammed. They want to tell us when to do it, how to do it, with who to do it. We're not going to do that. I said that Kenya is our country. We can do whatever it is that we want. That these are right protected within the constitution, and they're going to go ahead and hold the mass demonstrations. You agree, isn't it?
So this is what I say. If you're calling for somebody to keep you in check, then you need to let them keep you in check the best way they know how. Because if you want, somebody cannot just come to the media and say, I want to tell you, do this, do this. No. If the best way for them to keep you in check, they believe that this is the best way for us to keep you in check, so that the people of Kenya can actually feel and rally behind their cause and say, this government needs to do better and different from what they're doing right now, then let them do that. If you are okay in whatever you're doing, then you'll come out and defend yourself. But you cannot ask to be kept in check and still be not okay with how the person you want to keep you in check plans to do it. You can't have both.
Interesting. I will tell you that, though. Let's jump quickly into what Muhoozi said. Again, Muhoozi is on the, but why? I don't know what with Muhoozi and Kenya. Now, this way, I feel sorry for my beloved third country, Kenya, because now Kenyans cannot survive without
Without what?
Without us, Ugandans, Mwozi, and here's the thing, Amwai. Just quickly, just before we take a break, because Chris wants to kick us off air. What do you make of these sentiments? Nothing, or just somebody trying to have fun?
What I normally say, nothing happens by chance. Things
You
are
think
always
so?
yeah, nothing happens.
Yeah.
There are people in different positions that will not just speak for the sake of speaking.
Yeah.
Will not just tweet for the sake of tweeting. And there's strong messages behind this. And in the coming years, we'll be looking at it because to some extent you look at it and you expect it to happen in 2 or 3 days. Then you're like, it can't happen. They're just joking. But what does this mean in the long run?
Yeah.
Somebody will be making this kind of statements for just, today, tomorrow. But for longevity purposes, you look at it from like 2 years from now or 3 years from now. What effect will that have done if you're taking it lightly to some extent? Yeah. So I think we are taking it lightly, the kind of comments that he's actually making, and it will not be good because this is somebody that will be running for office the coming days in Uganda. And chances are, he might actually win.
Tunajua bwana vile kutaenda huko. Anyway, this is somebody, just before we step out, Daniel Kimani was saying, cloud chasing again, dude. Wachala la sisi. Telesphorus Matekoa is saying, come and be our savior. Let Uganda and Kenya be one. But somebody is asking a question, picking from what exactly you've said. I said, this never used to happen during Uhuru's tenure, right? It all began after President Ruto took over. More than meets the eye? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, Amwai.
It could be more than this.
Could be. But we don't know how to get into it. Maybe that's a conversation.
But this is the thing, Simba.
Yeah.
You see, if at all this was not supposed to be happening during Ruto's time, I would have expected probably a more good relationship between the two, because I believe Ruto has very good relations with Uganda, with Yoweri Museveni, so I expected the same probably from his son and all that.
Yeah.
But then again, we don't know. I don't know. Is it because he's trying to undermine the leadership of the president in the country right now? I don't know. I can't really say.
It's so much to read into it, isn't it? Anyway, right here on The Morning Drift, we'll take another tiny breather. Once we come back then, I'll be taking you straight to the newsroom, tell you exactly what headlines are you are waking up to this morning, in as much as the country affairs are concerned.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
So mimi nilikuwa mmoja wa timu kubwa ya Hasla na ngojea mazao yake.
Na bila shaka mpenzi mtazamaji, ni awamu nyingine tena ya bunge la mwenyeji, ambapo tunasikia tu maoni ya wenyeji, hasa wananchi wa kawaida. Je, maoni ni yapi?
Anakwambia wananchi ndio kila kitu. Unaona dipsi na system ni wananchi. Unaona vile wamenyorosha watu bwana.
Tumeng'oa nanga kwenye bunge la mwenyeji.
So ile kitu nasema tunamuomba asituachilie.
Good to have you join us on Heart to Heart.
We bring you stories of people who, despite the pressures they experienced, still trusted God to see them through.
The seeds that was sown in me helped me navigate and overcome that period of my life.
new testimonies, new insights, and even better revelation of the good things God has in store for us.
There is always a blessing waiting for someone in every episode.
All right, welcome back here on The Morning Drift. It is time to get you updated with what is happening in the world of news. Now, weeks after the Nairobi County government gave a directive for long-distance PSV vehicles to drop off and pick up passengers at the Green Park terminal, the directive has taken effect with passengers loading the move. This is a story prepared by Ian Ketani.
The directive has taken effect with various passengers plying the affected routes, supporting the move as it is now easier for them, with the new location open enough as compared to the central business district.
Naona wamefanya poa, juu at least ni mahali pako spacious, alafu pia ni mahali pako mtu ako able kupata mtu wake kiurahisi.
Mimi naona ni pazuri kwa sababu nilikuwa nashangaa tutakaa wapi, huku nako kutakaaje, lakini naona ni kuzuri, sipokuwa kutoka hapa kwenda town ni vile wametuletea mabasi.
You compare Afya Center, there used to be a lot of congestion, and then too when we come here you'll discover that, to me, I'm also seeing that they are creating some economy to these borders, because you reach here, you pick a border, so in a way you are creating employment, which is okay. I support it.
Jamu haiko kama kawa siku zingine. Sometimes initially ungefika somewhere say Kijabe or Kabete, then you start with the jam. Ningefika saa 7 na nitoke kwa gari saa 10. Today nimefika tu hapa in 30 minutes I'm off the vehicle, which means kuna mabadiliko mazuri.
However, some of the drivers expressed their frustrations with the move, arguing that it won't solve the snarl up within the CBD, as already the business has been largely affected.
Hapa ni kuzuri kabisa. Lazima tutakuwa tuna jam kubwa tu Jabar tu. Jumare zote za Western zikuja pande yote. Na za Central zingine na bado tutakuwa tuna jam tu bado. Yangu ni Nyanyuki. Nairobi na Nakuru direct hivyo. Kama kwetu hivyo si mzuri kabisa hivyo. Si mzuri Kama sasa niliingia hapa 6 nisienda bado.
Other drivers lauded the move, urging the government to ensure all matatu circles comply.
At least jam itaisha. Alasa radu iko sawa. Magari za kutoka Nakuru sasa zinakuja zina drop hapa. Lakini I hope magari zote, unajua kuna zingine zinakuwa na manini huko, manyumba huko. So ikifika mahali ati kusemekane ati hizo hazitatoka tao. Hizi kama Morale ni hivyo, kuna hizi kinatuenikia hizo. So unajua hapo tutakuwa sisi tuhesabu hasara. Unajua abiria wengi watakuwa wanakuja zaidi. Watakuwa wanaenda wapi? Wanaenda hapo tao. So mimi naona si mbaya, lakini waangalie kila side, wasiangalie side moja.
Passengers being dropped off will be ferried to the central business district using commuter shuttles at a cost of 20 shillings.
After the Nairobi City County directed the public service vehicles plying the Nyanza, Western and parts of Rift Valley routes to drop and pick up passengers here at the Green Park terminus in Nairobi, the reception is mixed. Some drivers are happy while others are not, and most of the passengers are very happy with the move. This 250 million facility is set to be the drop-off of many passengers coming from those routes. But the question is, after how long will it be fully effective? Ian Keitani, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
Now, away from that, President William Ruto on Sunday castigated the Azimio One Kenya leader Raila Odinga over his plans to hold anti-government rallies. Now, speaking at Interdenominational Church in Embu County, where he attended a church service, Ruto termed Odinga's bid as a way of deterring him from making progress in the country, stating that the government is ready for it. Shadrack Kareria now reports.
Na tuliomuombea aongoze nchi ya Kenya.
It appears that neither the government nor the opposition is willing to give up on their plans. Speaking at Interdominion Church in Embu County, where he attended the church service together with his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, President William Ruto punched holes in Raila Odinga's plan to hold public rallies, claiming that he is trying to deter him from making progress in the country.
Yale mambo mengine msijali. Hawa wajamaa ambao wangekuwa wanafanya kazi ya upinzani ni wale wale tunawajua. Sio watu wageni kwetu. Si ni wale tu wa maandamano wa kawaida.
President William Ruto welcomed the move, stating that the government is ready as he warned Odinga against trying to blackmail the nation.
Mimi nimemwambia Profesa Kindiki aulize hawa watu schedule ya maandamano. Ndio tuwapatie askari ya kuwachunga wasiharibu mali ya watu. Kama wanataka kufanya every day ama every week ama every month na kwa miaka ngapi, watu waambie wanataka kufanya hiyo maandamano. Elewana jameni. Unajua hawa majamaa wameona Hustler Fund ndio hiyo. Fertilizer imeanza. Mpango ya housing imeanza. Sasa wameona hii Kenya itabadilika na ile mambo wamezoea itakwama. Lakini nataka niwaambie mwaka huu, safari hii, mtajua hamjui.
In a rejoinder, DP Rigathi Gachagua and other leaders accused the Azimio Supreme of trying to bring down President William Ruto's administration.
Rais wetu, tunakuomba tukiwa hapa kwa mlima, president wetu, sisi tumechangia kiasi kikubwa kwa serikali yako. Hiyo mzee hatutaki kwa serikali yetu. Na huyo mtu wacha afanye maandamano asubuhi, saa 7 jioni, hakuna handshake.
Tunataka tuwaulize kwa heshima, ile tarehe wamepanga maandamano, wale watoto wao wako Yala wawalete, na wale pia wako nyumbani wawalete, waongoze watu kwa hiyo maandamano.
Speaking at Utawala in Nairobi County, Raila Odinga maintained that the Azimio coalition is still united, adding that the demonstrations will go on Wednesday as earlier planned.
Hello? Kwa hivyo mimi nasema tarehe 7 mbani siku ya Jumatano tunaenda Kamkunji. Mtakuja Kamkunji? Mtakuja? Wangapi watakuja Kamkunji? Nione mkono hapa.
Odinga accused Ruto of ruling with an iron fist, thwarting him for mishandling 4 IBC officials. Shadrack Kareria, Look Up TV.
Now, traders in the Juakali sector in Kisumu County are counting huge losses after fire burned down their shops. According to their secretary, David Odanga, efforts of the firefighters to extinguish the fire was inadequate, noting that they are estimating the loss to be approximately 100 million, as more than 70 business people are affected. The traders are now asking for help from the county government so as to revive their businesses as investigations to the cause of the fire continues.
Around saa 9 wazimamoto walikuja, lakini kulikuwa na changamoto moja mbili ambayo labda iliwazuia kufanya effectively within the required time. Tukiestimate tu inaweza ikawa zaidi ya milioni 100, sababu vile umeviona magari zimeteketea. Tuko na mashini kubwa kubwa kama zile za lathe machine ambazo zimeungua, motors zile kubwa kubwa ya gharama ya juu. Wale walioathirika ni kama between 70 and 100 members ambao wameathirika.
Vile tumesema source ya fire tujajua ilianzia pande ile asubuhi kitu kama saa 7 usiku na iliendelea hadi saa 9. Watu ya fire brigade walikuja, but being ya kwamba hawangeweza kusimamisha moto iliendelea mpaka ika destroy the whole of this parcel of land. Hapa hakuna mtu ambaye anaweza pata chochote za kuendelea na kazi yake. Tools zao zote zimeungua. So as per now tunaomba tu msaada kutoka kwa various communities, various sectors of politicals, na tunaamini ya kwamba by next week tutapata wale ambao tunaweza kujisaidia nayo.
This event involving massive losses is actually an issue that has attracted even our office, and I know very soon as we go through the disaster management reports our office will be actively involved to ensure that we stand together with the SMEs in this place.
Now, stakeholders in the tourism sector in Embu County have been urged to rise up and work harder to recover from the losses brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Samia Dika now reports.
Speaking during the launch of Embu Festival that is expected to kick off from the 10th to 11th of this month, aimed at promoting local talents, Embu County Trade and Tourism CEC Jamal Runyenje has reiterated that the county government of Embu is keen to establish a good environment for tourism and investment.
Tuko na nia ya kusupport our hotel industry, tuko na nia ya kusupport our artists, ndio tuweze kuleta shilingi mpya ama shilingi ya kigeni Embu County. Kama department ya trade na tourism tumepanga kufanya kazi na ushirikiano wa karibu na wale ambao wanapanga Embu Festival na wasanii wetu na wafanyabiashara. Serikali na media na watu wa biashara wakikuja pamoja wataweza kuleta watalii kwa mji wetu wa Embu.
Has noted that the county has great tourist sites that remain unexploited, adding that the recent visit by Richard Branson was an eye-opener that the county has plenty of destinations to visit this season.
That Embu County is becoming more and more attractive to our foreign and international guests. We are happy that Richard Branson was in this hotel about 2 months ago, and I am very, very keen that next time we have such an important guest in this county, we will not let that marketing opportunity go to waste. We will have a photo session with them and they will tell the world that Embu is lovely. Asante sana.
Stakeholders have observed that Embu Festival will promote local artists to ensure they are nurtured to have a competitive edge internationally.
We already have 156 artists, local artists from Embu. We have young upcoming artists, so it's an opportunity to give them a platform to showcase their talent.
Tukionyesha chakula za kitamaduni, tutakuwa tukionyesha waimbaji hodari sana kutoka hapa Embu. Tutakuwa na activities mingi sana ambazo zinaguzia Embu County. Tutakuwa na dramas from Embu County, yani itakuwa ni siku ya watu wa Embu, ya watu kujivunia kuwa wa Embu na kuwa wametoka katika kaunti ya Embu.
Now, just days after the launch of the Hustler Funds, financial experts have asked the county and national governments through the cooperatives to sensitize public on financial literacy in a bid to equip them with skills on managing their businesses.
Tunataka pia wauliza kaunti zetu waisaidie Hustler Fund pia kuhakikisha ya kwamba cooperatives na zile department zao na ministry zao za cooperatives zimejitokeza sasa kuwapa elimu, kuwasaidia hao watu wenye wameenda Hustler Fund. Sio hata hiyo peke hiyo. Waanze sasa kutengeneza kuelimisha watu. Ndio waanze kutumia hii Hustler Fund kwa njia nzuri. Na hiyo sio kwa kaunti hata pekee. Hata serikali yetu kuu wanaweza kushirikiana na counties na ministry ya cooperatives wahakikishe ya kwamba hao watu wote wamepata elimu ya kutosha yenye itahakikisha hii Hustler Fund inatumika kwa njia nzuri kabisa.
Kulingana na biashara yenye sisi kama vijana tungetaka kuanzisha, hiyo pesa ikakuwa kidogo sana. Kwa sababu shilingi 500 na hii biashara yetu ukitaka kufanya biashara kidogo inatakikana angalau 20,000 ama 30,000. Sasa tungetaka kuwahimiza kama tu anataka hii pesa itusaidie, watuongezee limit. At least ifike 20,000. Hiyo tunaweza fanya turudishe na tupate kakitu, lakini 500 ni kidogo sana.
Ngawa ni kidogo, tunaomba hawa tuongezee limit. Hii rangi nayo siku hizi imekuwa kali. Kama rangi moja ni 220. Sasa nimenunua rangi 3. Na rangi yote inatakana rangi 5 6. Sasa tunaomba atuongezee limit. Ngawa lakini si mbaya sana, ametuokolea kidogo. Hiyo limit iko chini.
Mambo kuhusu na pin sasa, hiyo ilitutia wasiwasi sana, kwa sababu tumekuwa tukichukua mkopo kwa apps zingine za simu, lakini hatuitishi pin. Sasa hii ya kuitishwa pin tunashindwa kama iko na mambo ingine ama ni ile tu kutupea pesa. Sasa hapo wangetuelezea ni kwa nini wanatuitisha pin, ndio tujue usalama wa pin, kwa sababu Safaricom wanatuambianga pin yako siri yako.
Kwa nini hao walihitaji pin yetu? Lakini tumepeana pin, tumepata pesa, lakini baadaye tumeregret. Iko namna gani?
All right, now cancer survivors drawn from Uasin Gishu County have called on the National Hospital Insurance Fund, NHIF, to broaden its coverage of cancer-related complications in order to mitigate against the rising cases of cancer.
Surviving breast cancer at a young age, being diagnosed with it at the age of only 12, it was very hard, and this day has made it has rekindled the light that was almost fading away.
I request our government that NHIF is good for those who can be able to pay, but most of the Kenyans are very poor. Reduce the cost of NHIF for cancer patients. Please, please, cancer is finishing most of us, most of the people. Reduce the cost.
All right, now Robert Waweru Njaramba is a 42-year-old barber and owns a barber shop, and he reveals to us that in the 22 years of running a barber shop business, barber shops are among the places men go to unwind, with a number of them leaving the premises feeling less burdened. Cecilia Lubanga brings us more on this particular story.
My name is Robert Waweru Njaramba. I'm a barber by profession. Wakati my dad aliona ni kitu iko ndani yangu, alijaribu kuniambia vitu zingine naweza fanya nini, lakini nilimwambia nataka kuwa kinyozi. Wakati nilimwambia hivyo, ndio alininunulia mashini za kwanza. Zile tulikuwa tunaziita kamkam, so tulikuwa hizo ndizo nilianza nazo. Nikaenda tu nikiadvance. So wakati nilimaliza shule ndio akaniambia kama hiyo ndio unataka, twende sasa Nairobi. Dandora, huko ndio nilianzia safari yangu ya kwanza. That is back in 1999.
Okay, sawa. Ngoja na utuma. Okay.
What keeps me going is my family. Seeing my wife, seeing my children, and nililelewa na hardships mob sana. So I could see my dad and my mom walikuwa na hustle sana, but hata kama hawangetupatia ile kiwango unaweza sema ya kisasa, they did their best. So my family, siwezi taka kuona watoto wangu pia ati wanateseka. My lowest time as a provider imekuwa ni wakati COVID iliingia, and I remember the CS wakati huo alisema barbershops and salons huko ndio COVID ina spread zaidi. So watu waliogopa. Nilikuwa nakaa hata siku 2 sijanyoa mtu. Watu hawajui kama kuna COVID, watu hawajui kama unaweza provide ama huwezi provide. All they know is that wewe ndio kila kitu. Ilikuwa ni challenge until wakati nilionyesha clients kuwa naweza vaa protective gear na pia naweza wa visit kwa home zao, naweza enda kuwanyolea kwa ofisi zao. That's when mambo ilianza kuamka. What guides me is the fear of God, first of all, and the passion I have for what I do. Some of my top clients, niko na watu kama akina Churchill, akina MCJC, watu kama akina Moha, anajulikana kama Mheshimiwa Mohamed Jichopevu. na wengine ni wengi, the list is long. I started by becoming a provider kwa familia yetu. Nilikaa kama 2 years or 3 years kabla sijaenda ushago wakati niliingia Nairobi. Kwa sababu ile kidogo nilikuwa napata naambiwa huku njaa imezidi, huku sijui nini. And my dad had an accident before niingie Nairobi. So ilibidi sasa mimi nichukue nafasi yake. Wakati pia nilipata familia, siwezi sema nilikuwa stable sana, lakini nao pia miaka ilikuwa inasonga. Na unajua society nayo ilimechukulia mwanaume lazima mapema ndio wanasemanga mapema ndio best. So wana expect kuna mwanaume anaoa haraka. Wanataka especially the parents wanataka kuona wajukuu. So kila saa unapata mwanaume na yeye hupewa pressure sana. Kwa nini hujatuletea bibi? Mbona hujatuletea watoto? So ilikuwa ni pressure na imekuwa ni pressure, but ukijua what you want in life and you put passion in it, utaenda mbali. I wish society inaweza badilika. Ile pressure ambayo mwanaume hupigwa, lazima afanye, yani unapata anaambiwa kila kitu lazima afanye. Na unapata ni kama mwanaume hana say ikifika ni mzigo ikiwa mzito kwake. Umeambiwa provide for this, hii side lazima usimame, you are wewe ndio uko na security ya familia, wewe ndiye kioo ya society na nini. The same way unapata society inasema tunafaa ku treat women the same way we treat men. And then society bado inasema what a man can do, a woman can do better. Tunajaribu ku empower women zaidi, yet the responsibility bado imebaki kwa mwanaume. Mwanaume asipewe pressure, kwa sababu society imefanya mwanaume ati hawezi sema hii kitu imekuwa nzito kwangu. Mwanaume hafai kulalamika, so mwanaume hafai kulia, mwanaume hafai kuonyesha emotions, but he's human. He feels pain wakati mambo imekuwa nzito. Men cry inside. Lakini tunafaa kuchukulia mwanaume pia ajulika, hata yeye mwenyewe feel yeye ni mwanaume. Unapata mtoto wa kiume kutoka akiwa mdogo anaambiwa hakuna kulia, wewe ni mwanaume. Mimi nasemanga nikafunguliwa tu hivi niseme zile vitu men huongea hapa ni mob. Men share, especially wakati wamekutana kwa kinyozi. Secondly, kwa bar. Huko ndio unapata wanaendaga kutoa frustration zao. Wakienda wapata na group mbaya, utapata hiyo group wataongea vitu negative. That's when utapata wameanza kukuwa na tabia ambazo si poa. Na mtu anaweza kuja akiwa na negative mind about marriage, mtu anaweza kuja ongee negative things about life, but once tumeshare na wao, wakati kuna word utampatia, utasikia mtu anakuambia by the way Roba, hapa umenisaidia. Ama hata anafika kwa ofisi anakupiga anakuambia Roba, ile kitu uliniambia mazi, hiyo kitu sijaifikiria na hiyo angle, nimefeel poa. If a man is listened to, vitu nyingi zitakuwa rahisi. Wengine wanahepa kwa familia zao kwa sababu they can't argue with the people or the people they are living with, their wives maybe. They don't want to show their children that wamelemewa. Na kulemewa sio issue. Issue ni kukaa chini mnaongea. So I wish men wanaweza kuwa napewa hiyo platform wasikike.
All right, now that is Bonaman, and just some developing news right now as we speak. IBC Vice Chairperson Juliana Cherera has actually resigned. Now she resigned this morning in a letter to President William Ruto, and I just want to read part of her resignation letter. And she says, after careful considerations of the current events at the Commission and with consultation with my family and lawyers, I accept that my stay at the Commission is no longer tenable and therefore choose to vacate. This is part of her resignation letter to the President, rather. Just let me just read that again, that IBC Vice Chairperson Juliana Cherera has actually resigned today morning. And part of her resignation letter reads, and I quote, after careful consideration of the current events at the Commission and with consultation with my family and lawyers, I accept that my stay at the Commission is no longer tenable and therefore choose to vacate. Now, Juliana did express her disappointment in what she termed as misinterpretation and misjudgment of actions done in good faith. It continues to say, since joining the Commission, I have dispensed my duties diligently and meticulously and put a spirited effort in helping the Commission deal with corporate governance issues under very difficult circumstances. Now, my cumulative actions done in good faith are unfortunately misjudged and misinterpreted. Now, her resignation comes days after fellow commissioner, that is Justice Nyang'aya, also resigned. Nyang'aya said he made the decision in best interest of the country, saying it supersedes individual interest. Now, just I repeat again that IBC Vice Chair Juliana Cherera has resigned this morning. Right now, she says her actions that were done in good faith have been misjudged and misinterpreted. Now, this actually comes at a time when the president had actually formed a tribunal, which was sworn in by Martha Koome, who is the president of the Supreme Court. And they were sworn into in order to preside over, or rather look into this particular matter and to decide whether the four of them, that is the four commissioners, Justice Nyang'aya, Irene Masit, Juliana Cherera, and Francis Wanderi, should actually be sent home after 4 petitions were actually presented before Parliament wanting their ouster for what they termed as gross misconduct and violation of the Constitution. All right. I want to take a short break here. We'll be coming back in just a short while with more on The Morning Drift.
So mimi nilikuwa mmoja wa timu kubwa ya Arsenal na ngojea mazao yake.
Naam, bila shaka mpenzi mtazamaji, ni awamu nyingine tena ya bunge la mwenyeji ambapo tunasikia tu maoni ya wenyeji, hasa wananchi wa kawaida. Je, maoni ni yapi?
Anakuambia wananchi ndio kila kitu. Unaona deep state na system ni wananchi. Unaona vile wamenyorosha watu bwana.
Tumeng'oa nanga kwenye bunge la mwenyeji.
So ile kitu tunasema tunamuomba asituachilie.